Cars have been categorized as one of the worst products for privacy. Most of your favorite car brands, from Mercedes to Tesla, BMW, all have been found collecting sensitive user data. They have access to your contact list, they read your messages, listen to your in-car conversations, and track your activity in apps on your phone as well. Until now, like most of you, I also thought turning off my smartphone's location meant no one could track me, but that's not the case. Your car is tracking you too. And unlike your phone, you don't get a push notification asking for permission. Most modern cars are equipped with telematic systems that automatically record your location and driving behavior. They know when you're home, what route you take to work, and what restaurants you frequent. And this data that they collect is reportedly valued at $400 billion as given in a report published by McKinsey. So you and I generate a gold mine of driving data every time we step out of a house, but we are only cut out of its value. And that's exactly the problem DIMO is trying to solve. A platform that allows vehicle owners to access the data generated by their cars and decide who can use it. But before we look at how DIMO works, we first need to understand where vehicle data comes from, how it's collected, and why drivers lost control of it in the first place. Let's take the Toyota Crista for example. You think you're buying a Toyota, but in reality, you're buying a car built by dozens of companies. The braking system comes from companies like Bosch or Continental, the air conditioning system by Denso, the touchscreen you use for maps, music and calls, that's usually built by Herman or other infotainment specialists. Even things like parking sensors, cameras, battery management systems, they're all built by different suppliers. In short, your car isn't built by one company. It's assembled by one company but from parts made by many. And all of these parts generate raw data every second as you drive. And this data travels from your car directly to the automaker's cloud, in this case Toyota, making them the owner of your vehicle data. When automakers first introduced these connected features, the goal wasn't to spy on you, it was actually to protect you. General Motors was one of the first to envision connected car features to help drivers navigate, avoid traffic, or provide emergency aid whenever required on the click of a button. In 2001, a car stolen in LA was recovered within hours thanks to the GPS tracking. But over time, the same systems that were designed to protect you were actually monitoring you and your activities. General Motors itself was recently banned by the FTC of USA after it was caught selling users' location data even after they had unsubscribed. What's the worst part is that the automakers collecting this sensitive data often fail at protecting it. There have been multiple cases where driving records, including names, addresses, driving data, has been stolen. So not only are they watching, they are failing to protect it. And if you try to disable the settings, some automakers will even disable the basic features like stolen vehicle recovery or remote lock and unlock access unless you consent to data collection. They show that all of this data is required for your safety, but it's only for making profit. Now here's where it gets ironic. Despite having exclusive access to all your data, automakers have failed to monetize it and capture the value it was expected to. Back in 2016, McKinsey estimated that connected vehicle data could unlock a $750 billion market by 2030. 2 years later, that forecast was slashed to $450 billion, and today, the value actually captured is close to $95 billion. That's less than 15% of what was originally projected. The major reason being they were hardware companies trying to win in a software world. Firstly, there was lack of interoperability. Different car makers collected data in silos, different formats, data types, and structures. It was difficult for developers to work on this. While your smartphone could receive new features overnight by just upgrading the next software version, your car's infotainment system might take years to receive a basic UX improvement. To solve these problems, there was a new wave of startups that had emerged, acting as a bridge between car makers and developers. So they would gather data from car makers, standardize the broken data, and sell it to developers. So anyone who wanted to build in-car applications could have access to real-time vehicle data. Most of these startups directly partnered with car makers to get access to official APIs of their data, while some used hardware dongles that could be plugged into cars to fetch live data. Despite gaining attention and funding from Tier 1 investors, they eventually failed to capture the value they intended to. Regardless of what method they used to collect data, the core problems never really went away. Even the most well-funded platforms could partner only with a few automakers, so the data sets were always incomplete. which was not very useful for app developers. Let's say the government is trying to build a smart traffic system for a city. By partnering with one of these startups, they would only see data from the vehicles of automakers that startup was connected to. So they were never really seeing the full picture. Because of this, the data was often of limited use, and many of these startups eventually failed, went bankrupt, or were acquired. So far from what we have discussed, both automakers and these startups tried to monetize this data, but neither of them gave value to its true data owner, that is, the car owner. That's what DIMO is changing today. DIMO uses a hardware dongle plugged into the car's OBD port. The data collected from different cars is standardized and can be sold to third parties who want to build in-car applications. But the difference in its approach from all the others that we have discussed is that it gives vehicle owners control of their own data and lets them decide who gets access to it. Just like your phone asks you to approve location or data access when installing a new app, DIMO lets users decide which data to share and with whom. In return, car owners earn rewards and has become a source of passive income for them. Today, DIMO still faces many of the same challenges that previous startups couldn't overcome. Firstly, the OBD port it relies on, while useful, can only collect basic information such as speed, mileage, and fault codes. It doesn't provide access to the advanced data needed for things like usage-based insurance, where premiums are based on how you actually drive, or predictive maintenance, which helps detect problems before they turn into expensive repairs. Secondly, the privacy problem still remains. DIMO gives car owners access to some of the data, but it doesn't stop automakers from collecting and monetizing the same data. To access these advanced data sets, DIMO would need to integrate separately with each automaker, but that's a difficult part. Every automaker has its own cloud infrastructure, commercial agreements, and data access policies. Tesla, for example, reportedly charges around $60 million per year for API access, and replicating that across multiple automakers would be extremely expensive. So DIMO is moving in the right direction by giving vehicle owners control of their data. But ownership of a small portion of vehicle data is, of course, not the same as ownership of all of it. Most automakers still control the most valuable data, and until it figures out a way to get access to it, DIMO will continue to face the same challenges, the same limitations that earlier vehicle data startups did.